It is time to get out of pocket. I am your host, Michael Davis, and I am so excited that I get to stay with you this Thursday and talk some sports because we got a lot to talk about. I'm not going to be talking about this team. That is going to be reserved for an action-packed Dad and the Boys. A lot of news has dropped with Jonathan Mingo, Dak Prescott and his injury status, and going into the Philadelphia Eagles game. My dad and I, for Dad and the Boys, on Boom Broadcasting on Fans First Sports Network, will be covering all of that tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. And guys, I'm not going to be on the show alone. Not the whole time, at least. I do want to talk some NBA because there's some big news in the NBA, but later on, I get to be joined by a good friend of mine, the host of the Gridiron Address on Sundays. We got Aaron Schneider going to be in the building. And guys, why do we do? Why? Why do we do these live streams like this on our YouTube channel? And it's because we want to interact with you. We want to hear where you're watching from safely. Sean Lucas is on 995, and he's got his out of pocket on right now. We are live on Boom Broadcasting's YouTube channel. And before I get into the NBA, before I welcome in Aaron here in a few moments and talking some NFL, I want to say a personal thank you. Last Thursday, we had a great episode right after the World Series. We had Dugout Debrief host Chris DeLuca on last Thursday, and it was a great time. A lot of people tuned in, and there were over 150 people who watched that episode of Out of Pocket last Thursday, just a week ago. And then we decided, hey, we're going to switch things up a little bit this past Tuesday, and instead of doing a show 5:30 to 6:30, our normal time, instead we went live at 3:30, and we stayed on for a good 2 hours. We got off of around 5:40 that day, covering all the NFL trade deadline news. I was joined by some really special people. I was joined by Shannon Smith from Quick Hits. I was joined by Jason Colenso from Three from Deep and Sideline Savants. I was joined by Aitman Chambers. He hosts the Blue Ridge Football Podcast. And we just hung out. We had a great time. And that is now, just in 2 days, that is now the most viewed Out of Pocket since moving to Boom Broadcasting in July, and is one of the more viewed shows in Boom Broadcasting history. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. I couldn't do this without you. And it's awesome because even if 5 people watch, I know that is 5 people taking time out of their day to watch the content we're doing. And that I don't take lightly. And that is something I really enjoy. And I get to enjoy this with you all. And that brings me to something that I've almost made fun of on Owl Pocket several times. Bronny James, officially minutes before we went live on air today, is not going to be on the Los Angeles Lakers roster. He's actually getting sent down to the G League. Now, I am going to be as respectful as I can when I talk about the Lakers assigning Bronny James to the G League, but it was pretty evident. It was pretty evident to everyone that Bronny was not ready for the NBA. He should have stayed at USC a little longer. He isn't going to get drafted if his last name is Smith rather than James. But since he was LeBron's son, since LeBron played for the Lakers, since LeBron is basically the GM and he decides who he plays with, that's why the Lakers use their second round pick on Bronny James. Usually what people would consider, hey, at that point in the draft, it's like, hit or miss, depending on if they'll ever play for your team. Why not? Like, why not throw a filler out with Bronny James? No, he was just not ready. And you had the first game, and you had to get Bronny out there, and Bronny didn't score, but you needed him out there, right? And then you had the Lakers in Cleveland, and Bronny got standing ovation. LeBron got emotional. Bronny actually scored his first NBA points in Cleveland. So I'm sure they love that. But it's pretty evident now. You got through the first game. You you got through the Cleveland game. You got him his points. You got him to play with his dad for a few minutes. But now we're back down to reality. Bronny is going to need time to develop. I wouldn't be surprised if Bronny at some point this year is brought back to the Los Angeles Lakers roster. And he's playing, especially as his dad, gets older, and as his dad, ends the regular season. I could see a scenario where Bronny James is brought back in March just to play those few games with his dad and be a part of the playoff roster. And Sean, the host of Wrestling of Destiny on Saturday mornings, the host of It Stinks, he dropped his show this morning. Sean saying should have been in the G League. 100% completely agree. It is he honestly should be in college. If that. He shouldn't be on the main roster right now, to use my Wrestling of Destiny host terminology that Sean uses on Saturday mornings. He shouldn't have been called up. He should have been in NXT. He should have been in the independent circuit. He should have been in the G League to begin with. But I will say this. You got the nice things out of the way, everything. This is great because now you can actually try to develop Bronny James with NBA tools like this. If he wasn't going to stay at USC, if he was going to get drafted by the Lakers because his dad's there, then this is like ideal scenario. Now, Lakers coach J.J. Redick, and we'll talk a little bit more about what J.J. Redick has said recently, said last month this was always the plan, to move him between the Lakers and to move him between South Bay, which is their G League affiliate. That was always the plan. But it's about time. It's about time Bronny is sent to the G League. And I just don't see a longevity with Bronny James. I don't see him lasting long in the NBA. But if he is to last at all, this is the best case scenario, rather than him sitting on the bench for a NBA game and he play like a minute here or a minute there. He needs real development. And the Lakers with their G League affiliate might get him that development. Now, somebody who may not need the playing development, but definitely some professional and personal development, is another Lakers player, D'Angelo Russell. If you guys have not heard what J.J. Redick has said regarding D'Angelo Russell, the Lakers point guard, then you need to listen to what J.J. Redick has said. J.J. Redick also just not satisfied overall with the effort for the Los Angeles Lakers. Besides LeBron, J.J. Redick has not been happy with the effort for a lot of these players. And D'Angelo Russell specifically is who J.J. Redick took shots after. Speaking of shots, got my drink that we are not sponsored by, so will not mention the name on air. D'Angelo Russell is a guy who, let's be honest, he came into the league. Everybody was like, okay, this dude has talent from Ohio State. second pick overall back in the 2015 NBA draft. And I saw him. I was like, hey, he's good. I looked at Karl-Anthony Towns. I looked at Jahlil Okafor, Kristaps Porzingis. And it's pretty impressive that 3 of those top 4 picks actually remain in the NBA. Karl-Anthony Towns just got traded to the New York Knicks. Kristaps Porzingis just won a title with the Boston Celtics. And D'Angelo Russell, with as much talent as he's had, you know, he had a stint with the Lakers, and the Lakers were honestly going through an identity crisis post-Kobe. So D'Angelo Russell gets traded, and then he gets to Brooklyn, and then he's briefly in Golden State, and then he seems to be picking things up in Minnesota. He seemed to be picking things up, and then he returned to Los Angeles Lakers. D'Angelo Russell has talent. If you do not know that, if you do not understand that, I apologize. He is a guy who can give you 30 minutes. He can shoot mid to high 40s in field goal percentage. He's done really well the last couple of years, shooting over 40% from 3. He's always averaged double digits in points. So he can be a contributor to a team starting wise. Is able to pass the ball, is able to get a few rebounds a game. Like, D'Angelo Russell is not a scrub by any means. He has talent, but D'Angelo Russell, unfortunately, is getting in his own way. Whenever a coach tells you that, hey, I'm going to limit your minutes now because there's a lack of compete. By the way, just say competitiveness, drive, effort, energy. Lack of compete is weird. It's a weird phrase to say. But I quote JJ Redick, the Lakers head coach. How do we get from D'Angelo Russell? By the way, shout out Mac watching us right now. LeBron wasn't going to the G League. Facts. Storylines getting to play with Son. Felt very WWE. You needed that father-son. You're like, hey, let's excel Dominic Mysterio and, you know, let him wrestle his father, Rey Mysterio. By the way, I want to give a special shout out. My guy, Matt, watching live right now, Boom Broadcasting. I appreciate you, my friend. It is great to see your name pop up. Hope you are doing well. Me and him have had great conversation. We met at a Hickory Crawdads line. And it was just us talking. One of the coolest retro shirts I've ever seen in my lifetime. One of my favorite, probably my favorite video game ever, especially wrestling related, was SmackDown versus Raw. Saw him in that shirt. Had to go up. Had to talk to him. You know, the front of his shirt was even cooler. But yeah, bless you, my friend. Thank you. Appreciate you. But how do we go from D'Angelo Russell saying, oh, like, JJ Redick's going to be good. Like, he's going to put us in position to win. He says he's going to thrive and the team's going to thrive, and he's crediting JJ Redick and the coaching staff for having the Lakers prepared. As a first-time coach, he wasn't even an assistant. JJ Redick just immediately jumped into the head coaching role. For D'Angelo Russell to back JJ Redick publicly and say he's getting the Lakers prepared for every game, how do we turn to JJ Redick just saying, yeah, D'Angelo Russell wasn't giving us any effort, a lack of compete. Three days ago, JJ was saying, "Oh, D'Angelo Russell, great leader." He was praising his leadership skills. And now we're at a point where you're a leader and now you're just not competing. And JJ's like, "I want to see what's going on with Gabe Vincent." Matt saying he's been well. It's good to see you as well, my friend. And hey, the invite is open. Slide in my DMs. Slide in my DMs. Maybe Messenger. And tell me your schedule. Tell me when we can get you on. Talk wrestling. Talk sports. All the things. Matt, I appreciate you, my friend. But D'Angelo Russell is just not getting it through his head. And it's really sad to see. Right now, he is averaging 30 minutes a game, 12 points, 2.3 rebounds, about 5.8 assists. That assist mark being second on the team, only behind LeBron, of course. But a pretty good assist turnover ratio as well. 3.5 leads the team for D'Angelo Russell. Lakers are 4-4 right now. And, I said this last week. Hey, you can't really, look at records right now based on, so many different factors. But there's a team who's hot right now, and it's the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, I told Carson, hey, man, let me have this one because we're about to have Aaron Schneider on from the Gridiron Address. And if I invited Carson on to talk about his Cavaliers, Aaron would have, had to back up his segment, pretty greatly because Carson can keep going on this Cavaliers hot start right now. Best start in 55 years of this organization, which is crazy because I remember criticizing the Cavs for, hey, they're doing good. Why do you fire JB Bickerstaff? Why do you bring in Kenny Atkinson? It doesn't move the needle. But it's moved the needle. Donovan Mitchell is playing lights out right now. The Cavaliers are getting wins over the Knicks, over the Lakers, over the Magic. Back-to-back wins over the Bucks, who were panicking with Giannis. Jason on 3 from deep this past week touched a lot on that Giannis situation. Cavaliers beat the Pelicans on the road last night. We got Warriors at home tomorrow, and then Brooklyn in a back-to-back. So they're stringing 3 games in 4 nights, and it's possible that they could start this season 11-0 because not only is Donovan Mitchell playing, Darius Garland coming out of nowhere, 39 points the other night against the Milwaukee Bucks, who was shorthanded. Giannis didn't play in that game, but you got to give it to Cleveland. Donovan Mitchell playing, Darius Garland playing really well, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen demanding the paint. There's something really cool to watch about this Cavaliers team. And I'm sure Carson's on cloud 9 right now because he's got a Packers podcast. His Packers are doing pretty good. He's got his Cavaliers undefeated right now. This is crucial, especially when you look at, the other teams in the Eastern Conference. You look at a Boston Celtics team. You look at the Pacers. You look at the Knicks. You look at the Heat. You look at the Bucks and the 76ers, and you're seeing teams who are like, oh, they'll give us a run for our money. But this helps. You can't really tell when a team is in November. I want to see this trend continue for the Cleveland Cavaliers before we label them a great team versus a good team. You never know the teams that are going to bounce back. But I will say, already having 7 games in, a lead over the Bucks, over the 76ers, 2 teams in the East that I personally respect, the Cavs are in a great position right now, and we have to look out for this team. And Donovan Mitchell's playing at an MVP level. It's pretty wild to see what the Cavaliers are doing. And maybe after all, I can say I was wrong. That Kenny Atkinson was a good hire. Jason from 3 from Deep, 9-0. Kenny Atkinson history, first year coach to start 9-0. That's awesome. You can just tell the talent he inherited, in addition to just the players playing really hard for him. Also, 2-minute warning later. If you're not following Jason on socials, he's killing it right now. Sharing everything, guest starring on everything. Started doing 2-minute warnings. In the evenings, Mondays, he has his podcast. Other nights, he's been doing these 2-minute warnings for basketball fans. He's doing great. Appreciate you, my friend. one of our better content creators. I still have this cough, so I'm going to recruit some help. Because not only do we have the news about Bronny James, we have the news of a running back extension. On the screen, Chuba Hubbard resigns with Carolina. Welcoming in now from the Gridiron Address, Aaron Schneider.
What's up?
Don't mock me. Don't mock me. That wasn't cool.
I'm not mocking you. I've been sick too, man.
Buddy, it is going everywhere. I actually think you gave it to me.
Yeah, that's how it works, I think.
I think
definitely.
I was fine before my guest appearance on the Gridiron Address.
Mm-hmm.
I was fine. And then all of a sudden it came.
Well, sorry about that, but super happy to be on and talk about some football tonight.
Well, probably super happy about this Chuba Hubbard signing, dude. I mean, usually you don't see a player re-sign in the middle of the season. So this caught me off guard. I don't know how you saw it, as a Panthers fan.
I mean, I'm definitely surprised, but I love to see it. He has been the only consistent bright spot on that offense outside from like week 1 but I mean, nothing was working for that team week 1, but he got in a groove, got it figured out. I love to see it. And it feels like Miles Sanders is really the odd man out, with Jonathan Brooks likely to make his debut this week in the Giants game in Germany, which I'd love to see. I would like to see Sanders get moved at the deadline. He's felt like the odd man out, period. And then they draft Brooks, and I was like, okay, Sanders is going to be gone shortly. But in terms of what this could mean for Jonathan Brooks' future, I don't mind having 2 good running backs. I mean, look at Detroit. They have 2 essentially RB1s, and that offense is amazing. Now, I'm not saying that Hubbard and Brooks are going to be like Gibbs and Montgomery, but we've seen it in Carolina before with 2 really good running backs in Jonathan Stewart and D'Angelo Williams, and I would just love to see some shades of that again in Carolina.
Talk about a good time to be a Panthers fan when Stewart and D'Angelo were hitting it.
So much fun to watch that team. I miss it so much. I just miss like watching great Panthers football, because that's just not a thing that you get anymore.
Yeah, and Jason and Matt, their comments popping up. Thunder and Lightning, baby. That's what they could have with Jonathan Brooks and Chuba Hubbard. Dude, that's what caught me off guard. Was like, okay, everybody's like, we need a running back. Now CMC's in San Fran. Is Chuba the guy? Miles Sanders wasn't. So they go out, they draft Jonathan Brooks. Hasn't played, finally activated. Thank you. He's on my fantasy team. But Chuba gets the extension. Long term, this looks like this is what they're going for. How does this affect their offense now?
I mean, hopefully it can allow them to keep defenses guessing because, like I said earlier, Hubbard's been the only consistent part about this offense. And so adding in another dynamic player like Jonathan Brooks could just give the offense more options instead of, passing games not working. You got to get it to Chuba. Now you got Brooks as a second option, and hopefully he can get rolling this week against the Giants.
Yeah, that would be awesome. You said Miles Sanders was the odd man out. We didn't see him moved at the deadline. Do you think he's going to just leave the team in the offseason, maybe through free agency, releasing him from that contract and eating some of that dead money? And Jason seemed like a lot of money for a second-tier running back.
Yeah, he's gone in some capacity in the offseason. I don't have a single doubt about it. Hopefully they can get something for him. I would take like a 6th round, 5th round pick because I just don't see him having a future in Carolina. He hasn't been effective in his time with the team, and it's unfortunate because I liked the addition of Miles Sanders. I thought he could have been good in Carolina, but it just hasn't panned out. So he's 100% gone this offseason, in my opinion, whether it be cutting him and eating some of that dead cap or trading him for a late round pick.
And Mike bringing up a good point. A lot of money in that running back room. Hubbard getting his deal. Miles Sanders, when he signed it last spring, it was, the biggest contract that running backs got that free agency period. And now you got Jonathan Brooks on a rookie deal, but second round picks usually do a little good. Jason saying Sanders a good fit in Dallas. See the laughy faces? This was sarcasm. That's hard to detect on our comments while we're live, but I can detect that sarcasm right there. Miles Sanders can stay far away from Dallas. Thank you very much.
I mean, if you want to give Carolina like a 6th round pick for him, I wouldn't complain.
I mean, we gave you a 4th round pick for Jonathan Mingo, so.
I mean, maybe we can get a 3rd for Miles Sanders. Who knows? Jerry Jones might be a little senile by now, if I'm being honest.
I'm working on an article right now for Fans for Sports Network. I'll link you when it gets up. Of course, it'll be on my socials and stuff about Jerry. We gotta have a conversation. But guys, Chuba Hubbard re-signing Carolina. He'll be staying for what it looks like the foreseeable future. Signing that 4-year extension, but one of the players who got signed this offseason was Derrick Henry. Not by Dallas, but he got signed. He and Lamar Jackson host the Cincinnati Bengals tonight. Aaron, we were having this debate on Tuesday's episode. Who's the MVP right now, Derrick Henry or Lamar Jackson?
Ooh, that's a tough one, honestly. I was trying to think a bit about it before the show. I'm inclined to say Derrick Henry. Initial reaction, I think the addition of the best running back in the league has really stepped that Baltimore run game up because, like, Dobbins was a solid running back. Gus Edwards was okay, but they didn't really have like a elite guy who's going to go out and kill it like Derrick Henry's killed it all year. And granted, Dobbins is having a good season in Los Angeles, but we saw a good Baltimore offense before, but with Derrick Henry, it's one of the best in the league. I think second only to maybe Detroit. But I got to go Derrick Henry just because, I mean, you don't see running backs play this well this late into their career.
100%. Like, and I'll be honest, like, we saw the first week and we saw the second week. Baltimore wasn't doing super great. Now they lead the league in offense. and they're third in passing yards. They're first in rushing yards per game. And I feel like now that they found a way to play Lamar and Derrick Henry together, they're dangerous, really dangerous. But Derrick Henry's already over 1,000 yards rushing, and we just started November. Like, that is really good. Saquon Barkley, the next closest guy at 925. Josh Jacobs, the next closest at 760. Chuba Hubbard also notably fifth on this list, but looking at that first like three guys, these were all free agents this year. Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, who lead the league in rushing at their age on the next contract of their careers. And, Jordan Mason surprisingly fourth on that list. Like, it's just weird looking at that top five and you're like, wow, these are guys who all people said they are either washed or they're not as good as Christian McCaffrey. And they're finding ways to be productive. And another team who's finding a way to be productive is the Cincinnati Bengals. Believe it or not, the Cincinnati Bengals started this season 0-3. It looked like a wash. And after losing the Patriots, the Chiefs, the Commanders, they started winning. They actually won their first game against Carolina. That might have been their get-right game. But they've won 3 of their last 4. Giants, Browns, Raiders, losing to the Eagles. That's honestly been the ability to get right. And now they face a really tough opponent now in Baltimore. But, dude, these division games can go either way. But now that they've won 3 of their last 4, this could give like a formerly 0-3 team like a hope for the playoffs. Like, I didn't expect to see this for Cincinnati. And Max saying they're not as good as a healthy CMC. That is true. If you have the chance to play Christian McCaffrey over Jordan Mason, you definitely are. Jason saying Mitchell coming back with he'll watch them rest Henry more. I hope not, because I want Derrick Henry to do a lot for my fantasy team. Jason knows all too well about that. But dude, Cincinnati, there's hope now for that organization.
I mean, yeah, you love to see the bounce back. They were looking grim to start the year, like you said, and they got things moving. That defense is going to be problematic, though. The Bengals offense, they got right. Burrow's playing good. Chase and Higgins are getting involved. Khalil Herbert is actually supposed to play tonight. He over the last few days, he really dedicated himself to getting acclimated to that Bengals offense. So I think he's probably an upgrade over Zach Moss, and I'd say give it a couple weeks. He's going to be getting most of the carries, probably still splitting with Moss and Brown, but another weapon for a solid Bengals offense. But the defense, you got to worry about their ability to stop Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry in the running game.
Dude, that's going to be it's going to be a difficult task. Jason saying Cincinnati wins tonight, and it's a trap game for Baltimore. Jason, kudos to Jason. He was actually perfect. First person ever to be perfect on the Out of Pocket picks last weekend. And also given the update, Moss being out for the year, unfortunately, for the Cincinnati Bengals. That's a tough break with Zach Moss going on IR with a neck injury just a couple days ago after we went off air. So they'll have Khalil Herbert. They have Chase Brown. But whenever you have Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase healthy, that's the difference maker for Cincinnati and gives them the opportunity to pull off an upset for the Baltimore Ravens game tonight. Aaron, we're apparently not Jason. Jason says since he wins tonight, Jason's riding that perfect streak. I don't know if that's the right call tonight, but I'll let you go first. Who do you think wins this game between the Bengals and Ravens, and why?
I think it's gonna come down to that Baltimore run game just being too much for the Bengals to stop. They've given up they're tied for third most rushing touchdowns allowed with 12. The Saints are also tied at third most with 12. It's going to be too much. I think since he makes it competitive, because I mean these AFC North games, when it's two decent teams and it's just always competitive. AFC North is just good TV, honestly. It feels like every team hates each other and you love to watch it. So that's just going to bring a whole nother element, even when teams are outmatched. Like, look at the Browns a couple weeks ago when they were playing Baltimore. They pulled off an upset with Winston in a quarterback. So you never really know with the AFC North, but I got to back Baltimore. Derrick Henry's going to be too much running. Lamar Jackson's going to be too much. And I think Baltimore gets it done by 7 tonight.
He's got Baltimore by 7. Yeah, I'm riding with Baltimore. Honestly, for me, it's a pretty easy victory. I mean, division games are toss-ups, but when you look at Pittsburgh and how they've kept winning, even with quarterback uncertainty, whether you play Fields, whether you play Russ, you got the Bills who have an easy division right now with the AFC East, and then you have the Chiefs just undefeated. Like, they imagine like if Isaiah Likely has like half an inch shorter of a shoe, the Chiefs aren't undefeated, and the Ravens have a big win over that. But that's not how the NFL works. But yeah, I don't see a scenario where Baltimore lets off the gas. I think they win tonight, and they do use Derrick Henry to his full effect. 120 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, and he's going to help my fantasy team because I need it. I need my help fantasy team. But
I was just going to say, I agree with you. Derrick Henry's going to be big, but to the people watching, be careful when you listen to Michael's rushing touchdown predictions because of a certain thing he said at the start of the season about a certain Cowboys running back getting 11 touchdowns this year. So I just got to throw it out there. I'm never going to let you hear the end of that.
Well, there is no reason to hear it because we still, 9 more touchdowns and 9 more weeks? It could happen.
He actually has to play to get touchdowns, though.
Okay, fair.
Got to throw that out there.
Fair. Wish he had played. Wish he had played this past Sunday, but it's okay. He's back with the team now. We'll do more NFL picks and we'll probably recap what happens in tonight's game tomorrow when we're back for Out Pocket. Guys, if you haven't, Out Pocket, it's only Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. We run on that schedule. Aaron with the gridiron address, he gets an immediate reaction between the afternoon and the primetime Sunday night game. Aaron, dude, you're killing it, my friend, with the gridiron address. Even if you were bashing on my Cowboys, it was a fun time this past week.
Appreciate it. And look, when they give me a reason to not bash them, I won't bash them. But until then, I will keep bashing the Dallas Cowboys. And I have no issue doing it. I love doing it even. But thanks for the compliments on the show, man.
I love how you're like, thanks for the compliments on the show. Hey, I'll still rep. Mainly because I got a lot of clothes and, most of them are in the dirty clothes. And this is a clean shirt right here because I haven't worn it in about a week. So that's been Out of Pocket. It was a shorter episode today because, still getting over this cough, having some, exciting things happening at home that I hope I get to share here soon. And then Tuesday we went 2 hours. What a time. But Out of Pocket, we'll be back tomorrow. 5:30 we'll preview some NFL games. Jason will be back on to defend his crown. And we'll probably talk some college football as well. Whatever happens here in the next 24 hours, we'll cover it tomorrow on Outta Pocket. Guys, appreciate you all for watching, tuning in. Jason, Matt, Mac, Sean, all the people in the comments. Thank you, Aaron, for hopping in and, only taking maybe one or two. But Jason saying, let's go. Hey, I want to humble you so bad. Jason. But yes, Boom Broadcasting. If you aren't subscribed, go subscribe. You get to catch Jason's show. You get to catch Aaron. You get to catch Sean. You get to catch Mac and me for Dad and the Boys. Appreciate you, Matt. Peace headed your way, my friend. We'll get you on here as well. Just hit me up with your schedule. If you are sad that Outta Pocket ends about 20 minutes early, guess what? We have It Stinks from Sean Lucas. We have Dugout Debrief. Both episodes drop today. And then Outta Pocket will be back tomorrow, 5:30, right here live on Boom Broadcasting. We can't wait to see you back. And guys, enjoy some Thursday night. And our commish, Wayne, might be happy with the result. We'll catch up on all of this tomorrow for Outta Pocket.
Well, that's it. I really hope you enjoyed it. We had a ball making it. Thank you very much.